I want to go over a few things. Now, this is the SV Strike screen. You can get here from, you have two options basically, guys. If you have secure view, all you do is you click on the passcode and then it says SV Strike, you click on that and it's going to open the software. Now, some of you might just be looking for the passcode break-in software by itself, the SV Strike by itself. And if not, you just legitimately or literally open the software by itself, and this is exactly what it's going to look like. So this is our home screen. And what I've done is I've plugged in the Strike, and by plugging in the Strike, it goes ahead and it recognizes it right here. And I want everyone to make sure that you're looking into everything, because if those of you, if you already have it, if stuff's not plugged in the right order, it won't always work, and I want to make sure it works for you guys there. So we'll go over each thing. So here it's showing that, yes, it is recognizing the Strike, okay? Now here's step one. Step one is where you're going to choose between Android and iPhone. If you're using an Android, always make sure you're doing an Android. Same thing with an Apple. And again, we do get into iPads. Why? Because we now do disabled mode, and we can get into Androids, Android tablets and Android phones. Now, SV Pin. SV Pin was developed about 4 years ago, but we did include it into the SV Strike. And reason why is SV Pin is used for your older CDMA cell phones with Qualcomm chips. What's funny is some of these new drug dealers, they're going back to these super simple burner phones, throwaway phones, and some of them still utilize this Qualcomm chip and their CDMA. So hey, if that's the case, you click on this and it's going to run the SV Pin. That'll break into almost any of those type of phones within about 2 minutes. SV Strike, it's going through, thousands of combinations on an iPhone. It could take 17 hours, so keep that in mind. But with PIN, you're in a matter of minutes. Okay, in step two, you're going to choose what type of an attack you want to do. So today we're going to do a PIN attack on an iPhone, and we're going to do a pattern lock attack on an Android. So if we're going to do PIN, you click here. If you're doing passcode, Secure View is one of the few ones that'll do full passcodes. We're talking 6-digit passcodes to break into very important cases. You can do a PIN plus passcode list combination, or you can do pattern lock. Again, so here's all your options right then and there. So nice and simple. And I guess I'll show you one thing right here. On the passcode list file, these are commonly used passcodes. So you might want to start by the top 20, top 1,000, something like that, because most people use the same, 1,000 PIN codes. Even at the bottom, we search other things like, look, here's all the PIN codes from Ashley Madison, so those are popularly used. You can go ahead and you can pull a lot of different variations, or you can start at 0000 like we'll do, and you can kind of go from there. Okay, now down here it's going to show the camera. You have two options. I'll kind of show you. You have the optical sensor, which sits on a phone, or you can do the camera, which is looking at me right now. Now, why I would tell everyone to use the camera is the optical sensor, basically, this sits on the phone, and what it does is it senses when your phone is, the screen changes. So it can sense the light between when there's a between the PIN code screen and when it opens up to the phone's home screen, once you've broken in. And it says, yay, here's the PIN code, you've successfully broken in. Well, here's the problem. Say someone walks over and shadows the phone, or unshadows the phone, or they're shadowing, or you have a bunch of people in the office, or God forbid, you're doing this overnight and the lights turn off. Well, guess what's going to happen, guys? That sensor is going to say, haha, you broke into the phone, give you a false positive when you never broke in the phone. I would suggest going out and buying a small webcam. The one I'm using is slightly nicer. I'll tell you the name. It's iPevo. It's I-P like Papa, E-V like Victor, O. iPevo, I guess, and it's about a $50 camera. It's a little bit more expensive, but we use it for training purposes, so it works good. And I mean, I have people though working $9 cameras, $7 cameras. Anyone at Best Buy or Radio Shack will have the camera for you. Just a simple webcam. And why the webcam is important is because every time the strike goes ahead and enters a pin. Well, what's happening? The webcam is taking a picture of that failed attempt. And when it finally breaks in, the webcam is taking a picture of that correct attempt. And well, why that's important, it's because now for evidence purposes, you always know what that correct attempt is to get into that phone. Okay, so nice and simple there. So it's that simple. So I think we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do a nice iPhone here. iOS 7, iPhone 5, nice one, everything else. We're gonna go ahead and I think we'll go ahead and start the process. So give me 1 second and we can go ahead and do that there. And I'm going to plug it into the box. And now I'm going to go ahead and plug into the phone. But first I am going to choose Apple, just to make sure it's already set on Apple. We're going to do pin. Everything else is going. We'll plug in the phone. As you can see, it's lighting up. That means it recognizes. Now I'm going to put the phone kind of right here so you guys can see a little. Let's see if we can get that. Okay, there we go. Now we have pin code chosen. We have the picture on here. We don't need to do anything with our SMS because I'm not on the network. And I'll go ahead and just kind of go like that so you guys can see the phone is locked. I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And it's going to tell us on the screen, yes, make sure it's 7.0 and below. I'm going to hit continue. And now it's going to go ahead and prepare our session. And it's going to go ahead and input the data on the phone. And there you go. That's simple. Now what this should do is automatically get that phone into a disabled mode. And from that point on, guys, it might not look like anything's happening, but it's still going. It's putting in every single one of those pin codes. I think we have this set on maybe 07 or 09. We'll find out. And we do that purposely because we want to show this disable for you. So we'll give it a moment. Okay, so now our iPhone is disabled, right? But now our SV Strike itself, it's still going to go ahead and you can kind of hear maybe or at least feel it. Well, obviously you can't feel it vibrating, but what the phone's still doing is it's still vibrating, and there we go. So we got into that phone. So what the software does is the software automatically goes ahead and sets the iPhone into disabled mode, and then it just keeps going. So don't be alarmed if your phone goes into disabled mode at all. Don't be alarmed whatsoever. And I want to let you guys know that. So guys, that's simple. Pretty cool, right? And that's any iOS device that's USB OTG compatible, meaning your iPhone 6, your iPhone 7s, and later iPhone 5, iOS 5s, I should say, not iPhone 6 and 7s, but iOS 6, 7s, and 5s. So there you are. So really nice and simple. So that's going to be the iPhone. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to unhook this here. And I'm going to unhook this here. And I'm going to get us out of the software. Now, why do I want to get us out of the software? Well, two things. I want to show you how to get back there, obviously. Phone, passcode, SV Strike. But also, it really, really helps, guys, if you're doing two different types of phones. I've done one of these trainings. We went from an iPhone to an Android. We kept the software open. It's just, you know, we don't want any hiccups. So once you're done with one phone, I always suggest clear your software, cut it off, turn it back on, plug in the new phone, that type of thing, and kind of go from there. So again, we're going to kind of repeat our step. And the first step, guys, is to go ahead and plug in the SV Strike. Which you can't. I just plugged it in. I just plugged the SV Strike in. It tells us detected, right? Okay, and here's our COM. So it's telling us everything is A-OK. And now, I hope there's not a problem with my camera here. Give me a second. I'm going to come back on camera 1. And there we go. We're turned back on. There we are. Camera 1's back on. We're good to go. As you can see, that's our cute little SV Strike box. Really small, but really powerful. Now, on our screen, guys, we're going to automatically do Android. So Android is selected. we're not going to do PIN, we're going to do a pattern lock. So this is going to be really neat, and it's because this phone we've locked with a pattern. So we're going to do pattern lock. We're then going to go ahead and plug in our Android. And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to do pattern lock, popular pattern example. Always do pattern example. So a pattern lock, which is a swipe, you know, when someone chooses a pattern, they're usually 6-digit swipes. So it would take, you know, days and days to go through every one. So you always want to start with the most popular. And what we found out through testing is basically, you know, we're all human beings. We all act the same way. So when we go ahead and we do our patterns, we all basically choose the same few hundred patterns, a W, an X, a Z, a lightning bolt, something like that. So that's why it's really important. Oh, my battery's running low. All right, we're going to hurry up here then. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm going to have someone grab my cable here. I don't want to die right in the middle of doing this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to plug in our phone. Give me a second. I'm finding where it plugs into. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and plug in our Android here. And there we go. And now you can see the Android phone. I'm going to try to block out some of the, there we are. I'll try to go down. Okay, so you can see all the little dots on the screen of the Android phone, right? Well, what we have to do is we actually have to configure this, guys. We have to configure our pattern lock. So I hit start. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit start. And then here's the directions that tell you how to do a pattern lock on the phone. So we're going to click on the show button. And using the show button, we're going to, everyone look at this little guy right here. We're going to use these buttons and we're going to make him go towards the middle. And I'm sorry, my phone's upside down, so I'm going to try to do this. Yeah, there we go. We're going to make him go to the middle button here, guys. And I'd say that looks good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit set. We're setting it on the middle button. Now what it's going to tell us to do is go ahead and go over to, I think it's the right button, which means this one right here. Sorry, again, I'm upside down. So to me, it's going to the left. To you guys, it's going to your right. So there we go. Ah, perfect. And that looks about good. We're going to go ahead and set that. Now, once we've set both our things, we're going to go ahead and we're going to run a test. And I'm going to, let's see if I can go out a little. Running a test, and do you see how it just went ahead and went on the screen there? I think you guys were able to see that. Let me see. I'll run it one more time just to see if you guys watch the cursor move. All right, let's try it one more time. Sorry, I'm trying. I see it moving, but I'm trying to. I know it's so small on there. Oh, it keeps freezing. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and run through this right here. So give me 1 second. Okay, guys, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and we've gone ahead. We're all check marked up, so we're ready to rock and roll. We should see a cursor on the screen somewhere again, so I'm going to show that cursor one more time. There we are. We've gone ahead. We've set everything. So I'm going to hit start. And there you go. And it's going to go ahead and it's going to draw the pattern lock on the phone. Now, okay, so what's happening here is it's going to go through the most commonly used patterns. I think I have it set to like the 10th try. And the reason why I want to do that is I want to show you guys how the phone locks itself out and how the software is smart enough to recognize that it's locked out and can still, you know, can wait the regulated amount of time and keep going. So we're going to watch this go here. It's really cool. And this, again, why we're really proud, this is something that was developed here in the States by us, which is wonderful. Okay, so the phone just locked itself out. So now what's happening is our cursor is actually keeping the phone awake, right? So you can't see it because it's so small down there in the corner, right there. But, oh, there it is. You can kind of see it, but it's keeping this phone awake. And what's going to happen is after 30 seconds, it's going to start its attack again. And I think we're going to be able to break in on the next try. So we'll kind of take a look there. I'll move my thing, and it's going to get started in just a second. Okay. So here we go. And it's going to do the Z. That's a real popular one there. And guys, for those of you that ask, let's see here. We purposely make the cursor go slow on the screen there, and it's so that it can calibrate itself okay, and there's no mess ups on the calibration. So I'd love to make it go faster for you guys, but basically it's a set it and forget it type of thing. You set this thing up, it rocks and rolls, and you come back and it's good to go. And there we go. We're now in the phone. So now I now have access to the phone, and I've taken pictures of every single one of those. And I'm going to go ahead and plug my computer back in here so that we don't die. That's simple, guys. So I'm so glad you guys were able to kind of go through the strike. Now, it works the same exact way for pin codes on an Android. It waits the 30 seconds. There's no disabled mode for the Android. It basically, it waits the 30 seconds in between attempts, and it keeps going. Now, and I just unplugged our SV strike. Now, everyone wants to know, and there's a lot of, I'll kind of go over some questions here. So a few things, guys. People ask, okay, well, you know, what phones does it, what phones doesn't it work on? And the best thing I can tell you would be for the SV Strike, if the phone is USB OTG compatible, meaning most new Androids, it'll get into them, or it will at least be able to talk to them. Now, some people will set those Androids to wipe after 10 attempts. We have no way around that, so I always tell people, sit with that phone. Sit with the phone and make sure you don't see something pop up there that says, hey, you know, this phone will wipe on the next try, or this phone will wipe on 3 more tries. But if they don't have that enacted, and most people don't, then it's going to get into your Galaxies, your Notes, your, you know, your new LGs, you know, that type of stuff. So that's really neat. Now, iPhones. Some of you, I'll kind of get you a close-up here. Because we're a forensic company, this isn't like an IP box where we build something and then we disappear and everyone's gone the next day and there's no support. We've been around for over 20 years. We're the largest mobile forensic software company here in the States, headquartered here. So we do support our products. So one of the things I want to show you real fast is this. And you see this thing, it's an iOS adapter. You will not get an iOS adapter yet, but this is already built in there because we are trying our best to get into the new iPhones, iOS 8, operating system 8, iOS 9, that type of thing. And what that is that's a battery cable. And we are trying, we're still trying to support iPhones. To be honest, though, I just don't know about future iPhones, but we are still trying. We do have an adapter. Our SV Strike was purposely built with 2, not 1 control chips, but 2 processors in them, so that and with extra memory, so they are already pre-built so that we can force upgrades to you guys. You guys are able to get a forced upgrade, meaning that it's like a flash upgrade. You can your chips are smart enough where they can be reprogrammed easily without you having to pay for exuberant amount of new new products and everything else, which is awesome. So that's great. Now, there's one more thing I want to tell you about the SV Strike because we are doing a major advancement. Everyone asks, okay, it's great for all your Android phones that are USB OTG compatible. That's great with like your Galaxies, you know, those ones. But what about, again, these Android phones that people are buying from Target, that people are buying from Walmart, that type of thing, these throwaway, these cheapo phones? A phone like an HTC prepaid, I got my daughter, Virgin America. How do we get into those? Well, coming up very, very shortly, March actually, we are working on a software-hardware combination. It will be the only one of its kind anywhere in the world that will be capable of breaking in to these type of phones, basically all of those prepaids. And we're going to set it up in 2 forms. For large government agencies, they will be able to host it. and they'll be able to utilize it themselves. For law enforcement agencies, smaller agencies that might not be able to afford a hosting situation or solution, you guys, we're going to have a service, and you'll be able to send in your phone. We will do chain of custody and evidence, but you can actually send in the phone. We'll break into the phone for you and send it back to you. And that's going to be coming out again in the next few months. We've already demoed it for the counterintelligence community. Everyone's very excited about it, and so are we. So I do want to share that with you guys now. That is going to be a brand new product that's coming out, and again, it's one of a kind. So we're very excited about that. So other than that, guys, that's our presentation for today. I love chatting with all of you and talking with you, and hopefully, you know, hopefully these guys, hopefully you learned something new today, and if you don't already have SecureView, get it. It will help you out. It's the easiest case tool out there for mobile forensics to utilize. And I do invite you, if you have questions, email myself back. I can get you on the phone with a technician. I can email you back, and I will be emailing if those of you have questions as well. I'll also kind of sit here for the next few minutes if anyone wants to chat, and I'll try to answer your questions as well. Other than that, everyone, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you being here, and we look forward, you know, on behalf of myself, again, my name is Jeremy Kirby. I'm Director of Sales here. On behalf of William Hinkle and Aaron Williams, who might have helped you out, thank you so much for being part of this presentation, hopefully being part of our family. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful day. Take care, and if you need a recording of this, please go ahead and email me. I will be sending out recordings of this webinar. Take care, guys.